It started with the tiniest disruptions, the kind that seem trivial until they pile up. Mark forgetting a line mid-conversation, misplacing his keys repeatedly, or pausing mid-sentence as though the thread of thought had unraveled. At first, Kelly and the family laughed, dismissing these moments as the chaos of busy schedules, long workdays, and life moving faster than anyone could keep track of. But gradually, the humor faded, replaced by concern as the patterns became harder to ignore. Meals lost their appeal, evenings were spent in heavy, unbroken sleep, and the house seemed quieter than it should, shadows lengthening along the walls. Ordinary days felt suddenly precarious, as if the life they had known could tip over at any moment. What had seemed like minor lapses revealed themselves as the first murmurs of something far more serious. The diagnosis that silenced the room. When the doctors confirmed cancer, the news landed with a quiet intensity that surpassed even the family's worst imaginings. It wasn't shouted or dramatized, it was clinical, precise, and somehow piercing in its intimacy. Tests that had been ordered as routine revealed a progression that none had anticipated, and the word cancer became an object in the room. Heavy, requiring care, something to be approached with caution and tenderness. Kelly and Mark exchanged looks, the weight of that word settling between them like a tangible presence. The family understood immediately that life as they knew it had shifted, that laughter alone could no longer shield them. The days that followed would be marked by hospital corridors, monitors, needles, and a vigilance that consumed attention and energy in ways previously unimaginable. Fear that doesn't respect time. Hospitalization came abruptly, because fear ignores calendars and plans. One moment, the family discussed scripts, house chores, and the dog's antics. The next, the walls of their home seemed wrong for the mood they carried. The oncologist spoke of aggressive disease, faster moving than anticipated, and explained the urgent need for treatment without dramatizing it. In the sterile rhythm of the clinic, bad news was delivered with calm precision, a cadence that allowed neither panic nor false hope to dominate the room. Mark, who had always carried a composed, playful persona on camera, revealed a steadiness that was rawly human. "Okay," he said, a word both simple and monumental, signaling quiet acceptance. Kelly, watching him, felt the fragility of ordinary life acutely, and the gravity of the moment grounded them both in a way humor never could. Rallying with quiet strength, the family moved swiftly into action, driven by love and necessity rather than planning. The children, Joaquin, Michael, and Lola, adapted almost instinctively. Michael rearranged his schedule to spend time in waiting rooms and provide support without abandoning his commitments. Lola organized questions for the medical team and pressed them into Kelly's hands like small talismans, a way of taking control amid uncertainty. Joaquin offered presence and comfort, small gestures that reminded everyone of continuity. Friends were called in to help manage the house, meals, and errands. The chaos of a medical crisis was mitigated by this collective effort, a testament to love functioning as both care and logistics. The family's coordinated response became a kind of armor, allowing them to move forward in a world suddenly reshaped by fragility and fear. Living in two worlds. While the family moved through the hospital, the press created a separate reality. Photographers stationed themselves outside, commentators dissected every phrase, and social media buzzed with speculation. Kelly felt the pressure of existing in two spaces simultaneously. The intimate, quiet room where Mark rested, and the public space of scrutiny, headlines, and speculation. Every photograph of her, every glimpse of anxiety was magnified, repurposed, and disseminated without context. Statements of gratitude, requests for privacy, and controlled updates were fragile shields, thrown into a storm of public curiosity. The intensity of attention underscored the tension between private grief and public consumption, a balancing act Kelly performed with grace, even as exhaustion settled into her bones. A sudden crisis. On the hospital's third night, Mark's condition deteriorated quickly. A spike in fever, plummeting blood pressure, and alarms transformed routine monitoring into a scene of urgent action. Nurses moved with coordinated efficiency, wheels squeaking, lines of care converging in precise choreography. When he was transferred to the ICU, the family felt untethered, suspended in a current of fear and helplessness. The ICU itself was a foreign geography, small, glass-encased rooms where time became meaningless and voices were calm but purposeful. Doctors explained that a secondary infection and organ strain had compounded the original diagnosis, a cascade that even experienced clinicians found challenging. Aggressive care was underway, but no one promised outcomes. The stark reality of vulnerability filled every corner of the room. The weight of vigilance. Kelly settled into a narrow orbit around the ICU bed, the glow of monitors casting halos in the room, and the antiseptic scent a constant reminder of urgency. Every small gesture became a ritual, adjusting blankets, smoothing hair, answering calls while keeping her hand on his pulse. The children watched with wide, attentive eyes, learning resilience and observation as the only tools available. Each moment was measured, a constant negotiation between hope and fear. In this space, love became tangible, expressed in touch, presence, and relentless care. Even as the medical staff provided expertise, it was the human constancy of family that stitched together the fabric of the day-to-day, making the extraordinary labor of survival manageable. The collapse. That spoke volumes. One afternoon, the accumulated weight proved too much. Kelly, standing in a corridor while taking a call, felt herself falter. The world spun, her legs gave way, and she collapsed to the floor, a moment of pure exhaustion translating into a sudden loss of composure. A nurse immediately reached her side, murmuring reassurances as fluids were administered. Mark's children were alerted gently, a reminder that even amidst urgency, care could remain deliberate. This collapse was not spectacle. It was the physical manifestation of a burden carried for too long. It underscored the human cost of vigilance and love, the unspoken labor required to keep a family upright in the midst of crisis. The public mirror. News of Kelly's collapse, captured and circulated by cameras and social media, transformed private anguish into public discourse. The family became the subject of headlines, speculation, and commentary. Sensationalized language dominated coverage, filtering grief through a lens that demanded clarity where there was none. Some reactions were empathetic, others critical, but all failed to capture the quiet, daily labor of caring for someone critically ill. Kelly moved through these dual realities, maintaining her role as both mother and spouse while navigating the public gaze. In doing so, she exemplified the tension between personal vulnerability and the relentless scrutiny of others, learning to shield herself and her family without denying the reality of their experience. Incremental victories. In the ICU, progress was measured in increments: stable vitals, favorable trends on monitors, small moments of recognition from Mark. Each milestone, however modest, became a reason for gratitude, a marker of resilience and endurance. The children celebrated quietly, secret handshakes, small gestures of joy, and meals that reintroduced ordinary pleasures amidst extraordinary circumstances. Kelly focused on micro-decisions: which questions to ask, which interventions to prioritize, how to conserve Mark's energy. These actions created structure where uncertainty threatened to dominate, providing the family with a sense of agency even when outcomes remained provisional. The logistics of survival. Alongside care, the family navigated the machinery of life: medical proxies, legal documents, household management, and plans for the future. Conversations were practical, even clinical, yet underlined by the profound emotional weight of the circumstances. Kelly balanced hospital updates, household management, and advocacy for Mark's care, all while nurturing her children's needs. Each choice became an act of love and strategy, a delicate negotiation between urgency and preservation. The scaffolding of daily life, once taken for granted, now required intentionality, discipline, and unwavering focus. Perspective. Gained. Emerging from weeks of uncertainty reshaped the family's understanding of life, priorities, and relationships. Small gestures, smiles, jokes, or a shared meal held newfound significance. The experience redefined resilience, showing that human endurance is not measured by grand acts alone, but by everyday care, attentiveness, and adaptability. The world beyond the hospital walls remained challenging, yet the family carried with them a sense of purpose and deepened empathy, a knowledge that fragility and strength coexist, and that love, applied consistently and tenderly, can withstand even the most daunting storms. Quiet victory. Ultimately, recovery arrived quietly, without fanfare. Scans improved, fever broke, and Mark's first steps down the corridor were tentative but profound. The journey did not erase fear, but it demonstrated endurance, careful attention, and the quiet heroism of everyday acts. Returning home was both relief and responsibility, a rebalancing of routines, habits, and priorities. Ordinary life resumed, richer in appreciation and understanding. What remained was not a simple return to normal, but a life consciously valued,